Hey, and welcome back to Miss Kitty's Wild West Adventures. When we think about capital punishment today, we probably think of things like serial murder. But what if I told you that once upon a time in the Wild West, a man could be legally hung for less, much less, as it turns out? Today, we're delving into the legend of Blackjack Ketchum, a name synonymous with one of the Wild West's most notorious outlaws. But it wasn't just his criminal exploits, but his unforgettable end that etched his name in the annals of American Wild West history. Join me as we unravel the life and crimes of Blackjack Ketchum, culminating in his notorious execution, unparalleled to this day.
This video is by request from Robert Trujillo. Robert, thanks for the great idea. We start our story in Texas on October 31st, 1863, when Thomas Edward Ketchum was born into a world of hardship. The youngest of 8 children, he faced early tragedy with the loss of both parents by the tender age of 10. Alongside his brother Sam, he found solace and work as a cowboy in the rugged landscapes of western Texas and eastern New Mexico. Fast forward to 1892, a pivotal year in Ketchum's criminal career. With a daring plan, he and his accomplices set their sights on a lucrative target, an incoming train carrying a hefty payroll of $20,000. What ensued was a heist that sent shockwaves through the region, leaving authorities baffled and the gang considerably richer. At some point in his criminal career, he was mistaken for another outlaw by the name of Blackjack Christian, and so took on the nickname Blackjack Ketchum. Ketchum's descent into infamy took a darker turn in 1895 when he was suspected of murdering John "Jap" Powers, sparking a chain of events that would seal his fate. The details of this crime, shrouded in intrigue and speculation, marked a turning point in Ketchum's notoriety.
Incidentally, many years later, it was disclosed that Powers' own widow, along with her lover, a man by the name of J.E. Wright, had paid Ketchum to do the deed and had subscribed to Miss Kitty's Wild West Adventures.
As Ketchum's notoriety grew, so too did his list of offenses. From daring robberies to high-stakes showdowns, he became a figure of both fear and fascination across the Southwest. In New Mexico, the Ketchum gang were well known for their good manners and pleasant nature in the saloons and brothels they frequented. But it was their uncanny ability to evade capture and reinvent themselves over and over again that kept authorities on their toes.
Hey, I'm looking for a guy. He's about yay big, mustache bushy, known to rob some stuff. Have you seen him?
The Ketchum saga took a tragic turn in July of 1899 with the loss of his brother Sam in a botched robbery attempt. Sam and his partner in crime, William Ellsworth, Elsie Lay, attempted to rob a train for $50,000. Sam was mortally wounded in the ensuing firefight, and Elsie was convicted of murdering Sheriff Edward Farr and was sentenced to life in prison.
Now I want you to remember that fact. Elsie got life in prison for murdering an officer of the law. The repercussions of this event would stick with Ketchum up until his sticky demise.
Blackjack's final act played out in a manner befitting his notoriety. In a solo attempt to continue his criminal exploits, on August 16, 1899, he attempted to rob the very same train that, unbeknownst to Blackjack, had been the end of his brother Sam. The train conductor pulled a shotgun on him, though, and grievously injured his left arm with buckshot. Blackjack fell from the train, and the next morning, when the posse came looking for him, he was in so much pain that he surrendered without incident. After a brief stint at a hospital in Trinidad, Colorado, where his arm was amputated, Blackjack was tried for the crime of felonious assault upon a railway train and was sentenced to death by hanging.
That's right. Elsie got life in prison for murdering a lawman, but Ketchum was sentenced to death for the felony assault of a train.
His sentence was carried out on April 26, 1901, but not before tickets for the event and souvenir blackjack Ketchum dolls, complete with a noose around the neck, were sold to an eager audience. But it was the manner of Ketchum's demise that truly captivated the public imagination. You see, Blackjack was the first person in all of Union County, New Mexico, to face capital punishment for his crimes, and as such, the men in charge of the execution had no experience. Due to a gross miscalculation, when Blackjack Ketchum fell through the trapdoor, the bandit was unceremoniously decapitated. From a botched robbery to a bungled execution, his final moments were as macabre as they were unforgettable. Ironically, not long after his execution, capital punishment for his particular crime was deemed unconstitutional.
And so the legend of Blackjack Ketchum comes to a close, leaving behind a legacy of crime, tragedy, and ultimately a gruesome end that defies explanation. Now, you would think executioners would have learned from this gross miscalculation, and for nearly 30 years, Blackjack Ketchum was the only person in America to suffer such a fate. If you'd like to know more about the person who broke this record, be sure to subscribe to Miss Kitty's Wild West Adventures. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Miss Kitty's Wild West Adventures. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and ding the bell for notifications. And while you're at it, go ahead and tell your friends. And in the meantime, I'll catch you on down the trail.